Are we ready to go? I hope so. Thank you for joining us. This is the third in a series of three, marketing your beef locally. And I'm really excited that you took the time and that you are part of what we're trying to do, and really excited that you're able to join us on this once again. I mean, we suffered some pretty bad weather the first couple of times, and now we have awesome weather, so I'm fighting that as well. So it's never ending. So, as you've established as we've gone along through this, we know beef, and we know beef in a variety of ways. So you guys raise it, and we know how to put it out there. And today's agenda, we're going to break it down into different areas. We're going to talk about before the sale and what to do about that. And we're going to talk about, I need to make sure, hold on. Is this being recorded? I hope so. Yes, it is. All right, we'll have to edit that piece out. I apologize. So we're going to talk about before the sale, before you make that beef sale. And then once that sale is secured, then what is that next step? And then after the sale, how do you continue that relationship building and build upon what you've done and that connection you've made with your customer? And we're going to do something fun, educational, and informative options, whether you're doing it at a farmer's market, you're doing it from your home. It just something new and different to do, and something that we did a while back. I want to do a quick recap. That first one, you learned about your beef cuts. You learned that marketing, and also in that second one, marketing and cooking underutilized cooks. So you learned where it came from. You learned that you couldn't steal from Peter to pay Paul, in a sense. And then you learned how to talk about those cuts and how to push them forth and do different things with them. So as I mentioned, that beef breakdown, beef cuts 101 from nose to tail, and the better understanding of those cuts. And the fact that you just can't have it all. You can't have that flat iron and the clod and different cuts and all at the same time. And you learned about what your new role would be, that you're that bridge builder to the consumer and understanding of beef, how to cook it, where it comes from. And that you've also, all of a sudden, once you start selling directly to that consumer, you've just become a small retailer. In that second session recap of that marketing and cooking of underutilized cuts, we talked about the consumer, what that consumer is, who it is, and what they want and what they're looking for. We talked about taste, flavor, and tenderness, and where they all be a part of that beef eating experience, knowing that taste is that number one driver of why people purchase beef. The cuts and cookery. Not every cut is cooked the same. There's dry heat, moist heat. There's a million ways of doing it and different facets of it, but you don't want to do it wrong, because then it would be a poor eating experience. And you got to figure, we spend a lot of time ensuring that animal is safe and healthy, and that all of that is creating a great steak or burger or whatever, and then the consumer may blow it by overcooking it, or God help that they cook it to well done. That's not what we want. And then some of those consumer marketing options of how to put that together and put it forth to be, relevant and lucrative in front of the consumer's eyes. So one of the things that I talked about is before the sale. What's your plan? Have you defined your selling niche? That's the number one question: is who are you and what are you going to do? If you were part of that beef core, we talked about what's your why. Why do you do what you do? Because people buy what you don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So that's a big piece of it. So when I talk about your niche, I'm not just talking about, hey, you're going to be organic, or you're going to be all natural, or you're going to be, grass finished or grass fed. Are you going to be freezer trade? Are you going to be by the cut? Are you going to sell quarters and halves? Are you going to go to a farmer's market and sell? Are you going to market from home? Are you going to advertise? And how are you going to advertise? You're going to advertise on Facebook, social media? Are you going to push it all on websites? Are you going to add, where are those ads going to be? How are you going to want your consumer to seek you out and find you? So some of the before the sale resources that could help you, especially at a farmer's market, or even at your stands at home or what have you, are all right here. As you can see, we have some direct marketing resources right down here. You submit that checkoff, you ask for this, and voila, there's beef cut charts. There's some recipe cards. We have grilling sheets. This beef breakdown is an awesome tool that we worked in collaboration with Harvest New York, and the cooperative extension piece of it is that, you know what, a lot of our consumers say, look, you know, this is a 1,200-pound animal. Why am I only getting 500 some odd pounds of meat? How does that play out? You know, they forget about the offal, they forget about the bones, they forget about, you know, all of those pieces that put this animal together, and that you're not getting all of it. And then basically, what are those percentages? You can't have a consumer come to you and say, I want 47 ribeye steaks, because that's just not going to happen. Another piece of it is the meat suite that is run by Cooperative Extension here in New York State. You know, signing up and being part of that meat suite. And then also, I think it was mentioned before, is where to buy that local Northeast beef, and that you can find that link on our website to that Northeast beef directory. So that is available as well, and you can find that link and that connection on our website, nybeef.org. So there's online beef directories, there's that beef breakdown, and those cut charts that are all really lucrative before the sale to help define who you are and kind of build that collateral. So the build the sale resources can be found at meatsuite.com. So if you want to take a picture or do a screenshot of this, also at our nybeef.org website, you would go to the Farmers Fence post, and then the New York Beef Council information, producer resources tab. And then there's the Northeast Beef Promotion Initiative right here. This is where you'll be able to sign on for that Northeast Beef directory. Okay, so there are multiple ways of which to get that information out or gain those resources so that you can market your beef. Now, during the sale, all right, so you've got prospective customers and you're right in that middle of the sale. What do? What do you give them as far as to ensure that what they're buying is going to be a good eating experience? Well, recipes are always a hot number. You can always create your own recipe cards. Those are super easy to do. I have a quick template I have on Publisher that I can shoot right to you, not a problem. Chuck Knows Beef. These cards, we have them here at the Beef Council. Again, it's part of that checkoff. You want some of these cards, I can send you about 25 to 50 of them, and this is what you hand out. It's got all of our stuff information on here, as well as Beef It's What's for Dinner. That is your go-to source for recipes. And then, of course, the Beef It's What's for Dinner connection. It has all of this information as far as the nutritional, how to cook it, serving size, and it even has some of that cut information, which I think I showed you not too long ago. In one of the first couple of our webinars. So all of this right here is pretty good. All right, so that's during the sale, that secured sale. And then again, during that sale and to secure it is that we have some other resources that we just got and kind of changed over. This was used to be a really dark background, and one of our beef producers says, you know, I really like to use this stuff, but it really takes the heck out of the ink from our printers, and it's really expensive. So I asked National Cattlemen's Beef Association. They are contractors to the Beef Checkoff, the Beef It's What's for Dinner group, that federation. I said, hey guys, can you lighten this up so that it can be printed off and we're not using a ton of toner? So this is some stuff. This is a two-sided front and back to kind of get those information out about the 10 essential nutrients and vitamins, and how from birth until through the life cycle, our own life cycle, that beef counts at every bite. And then that cattle care piece of it. You're BQA certified. Here's the time to boast about it and let it explain itself of what it is and how it fits into the beef industry and how it fits for your customer. Then what we also have is collateral, again, lightened up extensively, is Chuck Knows Beef. These are little like business type cards that you can do, introducing Chuck Knows Beef, and then it has a question on one side and this information on the other, where people can go ahead and engage it through artificial intelligence that I will say her name and she's going to light up on my desk here, Alexa. That artificial intelligence piece that will, all you have to do is say engage Chuck Knows Beef, and the next thing you know, they're able to go ahead. They can also download it on their phone, their smartphone. There is that opportunity, and it all comes from Beef It's What's for Dinner. Another way to do and engage is with posts themselves. And why do I feel that this? Okay, another piece is that constantly informing your folks and your customers through social media. letting them know that, hey, this is what I'm feeding our animals and check this out. Also, giving information is that, hey, our cows are out in the cold right now, but let me tell you, they're really enjoying it and they're fat, get nice and fat to get ready to give you some quality beef. Another aspect of it is posting on yourself is to get that outreach out there and that engagement with your customers is post some fun stuff about cows and giving them information, whether it's your own rancher recipes or hey, how you embrace the beef industry, maybe what your kids do if they show cows, cattle, and explain why they do, or just some funny pics on the farm. And then give a regular updates and checks on what you're doing on the farm. Hey, I'm doing a herd check today. We're constantly checking our cattle and ensuring that they're healthy and and viable and safe. And then just the fact, a little insight about how curious our animals are and that their personalities and what they do. People like to see that kind of stuff. And blend your story, that no matter what platform you share your story in all different ways to inform your consumer. That's when during the sale, that's to catch their eye and keep them informed about everything that you do and how you do it and basically why you do it. So you want to post as often as you can to kind of get your information out there. Be a MBA member. That beef advocacy piece is really important. Kind of schedule in your work routine because this is your way of marketing. This is the one thing aspect of it. And Betsy brought up a good point that New York Run and Certified is another caveat to your marketing campaign, and we can get into that. You don't have to develop everything. Take pictures, take old pictures and put them forth. If you're haying, then explain what you're haying. Those big marshmallows out in the field, everybody thinks they are. Talk about that silage program and what you do and why you do it that way. And then just be visual, be diverse, throw some recipes out there, take some stuff for us. It's about educating your consumer so they have a better understanding of your product and what to do with it. And then, of course, make it visual. That social media tool is really an imperative part of it, whether it's Facebook or Instagram. Get it out there and talk about your beef. And then maybe kind of go into the day of the life, explaining, walk them along in your stories, walk them along in what you do and how you do it. And then start conversations with them, ask them. They'd like to see what goes on your farm because if they're engaged, they're going to share it. If my sister-in-laws are buying beef from your farm and they see something like this, they're going to share it with each other and say, oh my God, did you see what they're doing on this farm? Look at, they're feeding the cattle pumpkins. This is really cool. I know for a fact that's what they would do. Share your recipes using your own beef. Or here's a recipe, share your creation, maybe win a pound of ground beef. Often encourage that engagement with your consumers to say, hey, let's do something fun. And you know what? I know you, some of you have bought beef from us. Let's see your beef creations. I'd love to share it. Or let's, see your beef recipes. Or, hey, that recipe I gave you, did you use it? Let's see it. And maybe you can win a pound of stew meat. Email blasts and newsletter are another way of getting out there and getting that information to them. Whether it's a constant contact and putting out a recipe once a week like we do with What's for Dinner Wednesday, or engaging with newsletters as you see here. This one is online. This one comes like in a hard copy. If you have a mailing list that you put one pager together, fold it up, put a stamp on it and send it out. For your folks to see what sales or promotions or where you're going to be in farmers market. So not only did we kind of talk about that that piece of it where it's before the sale, during the sale, then there's that after the sale and continuing that engagement, but there's also that fun, educational, informational, interactive option. And that's using these tablets. Using your tablets, having them triggered and ready to go on Beef It's What's for Dinner. We have a fun little promotion that we always did when we were doing displays at the time. And it's something that you can engage with at maybe in a farmer's market is you put up a poster and you ask people, are you a grill master? And whether you have something going on the grill right now, COVID kind of changes some of the rules about giving out food, but you could have a fake grill in front of you and kind of do a grilling 101 type challenge. You could use Beef It's What's for Dinner and have little cards to say, hey, type in the search box the word rice and see how many recipes come up that and utilize rice when it comes to beef. So these are some of the things that we used to do to engage people to learn about the beef recipes and, hey, how to cook that steak perfectly. So here's a can you find opportunity on Beef It's What's for Dinner. They can do a recipe search up here or just type in recipes or click onto this and it'll take you to a recipe page. You can do a cut search. Again, click onto that and put in top round and it'll be top round with all that information on it. A nutrition search is another good one. Protein. It'll pop up and take a look and see, hey, you know what, go to the nutrition page and look to see what the vitamins and nutrients are in beef. Raising beef information from pasture to plate. Take a look at that website and maybe have a question, of the buy or ask a question or what have you, but it's a great way of interacting and people giving that now. Today I had a Snapple bottle, and I probably shouldn't have said that, but I had a bottle and you take off the lid and inside there's a question in it. And, I took that bottle, I put it on top of the refrigerator for Ryan, and I said, Ryan, we're going to use this because we need to have a beef fact and a way of putting it out there in one shape or form because people want to know those facts. And the facts today was, did you know that camels used to be part of the Arizona desert? I had no idea. I mean, things like that people think that's really cool. And that's called collateral knowledge. And people are sharing that collateral knowledge because they're in the know. It's a cool information. And then, of course, always, always, always cooking tips. How to cook that beef is so, so important. Now, I know I kind of blew through different ideas. A lot of it is simple resources that you can find on our website. You can find on Beef It's What's for Dinner. Everything is downloadable, printable, from nutrition facts to infographics, etc. And we're just reaching out to us and saying, hey, how do I find this? And I can either shoot it to you or I'm looking for a template for a recipe card or just something that I can hand to somebody. By all means, call us and I will shoot you some examples or try and give you a template of one sort or another. But here that one slide I had about, are you a grill master, grilling 101? So this is where I'm going to test your beef knowledge right now. And this is something that you can do as part of what you do at a farmer's market. So questions are going to be, are you a grill master? And it can be kind of a PowerPoint on your tablet here or in a poster form like this. And you can have just a fake grill in front of you. We always had an electric grill that was unplugged because a lot of times we were in a venue that would not allow flame or any cooking. And knowing that cuts to grill or not to grill, that is the question. And there are 7 myths to grilling. And there are also the 3 T's of grilling that you'll learn and kind of the resources. So it's kind of an all-encompassing and engaging. Believe me, when I put this poster up and we engaged, I probably went through this 1,000 times over and over and over again. And when you're talking about it and doing something fun, that's when people start coming over because they're hearing information that will pique their interest. So, and where can you use this information? And I'll show you that as well in just a moment. So, grilling 101, the grill. Which one is best? Is it your propane? Is it your open flame? Is it the charcoal? Is it, one type of charcoal grill over another? Is it kind of a kettle? Is it, at the picnic spot? Which one is best? And the answer is, it's totally up to you. It really doesn't matter which one is best. It's whatever works for you. I'm a proponent to propane. I'm not a fan of lighting charcoal and waiting for it. I'm very impatient and I just cannot wait for these little briquettes to get white and really don't know what to do with it. So I'm total propane, gas grill, 100%. And that's what some of the questions that you can start out with is say, hey, how do you like to grill your steaks or what do you like to grill it on? Gas, propane, charcoal. So myth number 1, all right, everybody, I want you to get ready. And you can use I'm going to let you either put it in the chat box or use your little icons that you can raise your hand in one way or another, like a thumbs up or thumbs down. I think there's a way of doing that. So myth number 1, a steak is a steak is a steak, true or false? Peter said no. Very good. I get falses here, Betsy, and false, false, false. Okay, we're doing pretty good. All right, so you're right. It is false because a steak, as you learned in the past, is false because one type of steak is a little bit different than another type of steak, and it all does not get cooked the same. Some of the things we have to think about is what are the top 6 cuts from the grill? This is it. Ribeye, strip, top sirloin, flat iron, skirt, and flank are the top ones. Where are they coming from? Some you're going to have to marinate, and some you don't have to marinate. And then you have to differentiate with that. So if you're going to talk about steaks, maybe have a steak packet that you can give away as just a little extra. It really doesn't cost very much to put something together. And we've got like 4 or 5 recipes that are salt-free on our website that you can easily put in a little packet and give away. Here's a perfect opportunity, as I just said, handouts and recipes about steaks and about different rubs and marinades. All right, question number 2. Have a steak at room temperature before grilling, true or false? Peter says yes. And we got some trues. True, true. So have a steak at room temperature before grilling. True. Look at the peer pressure here. True. I've heard true, but hardly ever have time to get it thawed. Yeah, no doubt. All right. So are you ready for this, folks? False. Ta-da. Oops. False because you see this blue and this red. There's called a danger zone between 40 degrees and 140 degrees. The longer meat is in between, or any protein by that matter, between that 40 and 140 degrees, it allows for little germs to build up and multiply. Below 40 degrees, they're kind of at a stagnant. Over 40 degrees, they're cooked. But to have, you can take a steak literally from the refrigerator, salt, pepper it, toss it on the grill. There's a lot of quote unquote unofficial studies out there where people have taken it from the freezer, from the refrigerator, room temperature, all basically cooks at the same time. I know a lot of you sell freezer beef, and there are 3 inherent ways to thaw meat, and one of them could be in the microwave, and there's some great videos on Beef It's What's for Dinner and how to thaw frozen meat. There's putting it under a cool water bath where you put it in a bowl and there's a constant stream of water, so it's not just sitting in the water. Or set a notice on your phone or put a note, a sticky note saying, hey, take that meat out on Friday if you're going to have it on the grill on Sunday. So those are some helpful hints, but most definitely it is false. You want to keep it in that refrigerator. One of the things you want to do too is like pat that dry before you put it on the grill. All right. Number 3, to salt or not to salt, and when? You salt it or not salt before you cook it? Before or after? Not, says Karen. Here says yes. We do right before it goes on the grill. Salt. No salt. I want to live until 100. All right. Totally up to you. There's a lot of folks out there to say yes, salt. Some say no, don't salt because it pulls out the moisture. It's totally up to you. I often just usually flavor and put a rub on one side of the steak and not 2. Again, that's just mine because I don't want to overpower the beef flavor, but it is totally up to you on to salt or not salt or how to do that. Do you want salt on your margarita? Yes or no? This is a perfect opportunity to hand out a spice packet, spice mix recipes, so that you can tell folks that, hey, here's a multiple way of doing spices. And again, we have some great recipes that we created in the Beef Council, from the Beef Council, on no salt. So you can live to be 100, and they can add the salt after. Number 4, a fork is the proper turning tool. True or false? Betsy, no. False, false, false. False. Very good. False indeed. There are 3 T's to grilling. Love to ask people this. This is the perfect opportunity of saying, what are the 3 T's to grilling? So it's time, temperature, and time. The time is based on the thickness of the steak and the type of steak. That temperature, the best temperature that the industry recommends is 145 degrees internal temp. That's a medium rare. And always turn with the tongs, because once you put a fork in it, those juices are going to fall into those flames and there'll be a flare up. So definitely false. Very good. Myth number 5. Turn steaks often while grilling. True or false? I got a false, and survey says false indeed. And you see what he's doing here with the pressing the spatula on the burgers. You don't want to do that either, because that'll cause exactly what you see here, a flame up, and you don't want that to happen. But yes, do not turn those steaks very often. You can twist it a little bit. So after a few minutes, and then you know it's going to have those grill marks and it can move, you get a little bit of a wiggle. That means it's kind of cooked, that you can turn it like a quarter of a degree. And that's where you get those nice hashtags. So, and then after a couple more minutes, then you can flip it over. But yeah, false. Number 6, use a steak knife to check doneness. True or false? False, false, no, yep. Again, false. No, must use temp thingy. Tempting. I like that. Yes, and the temp thingy is definitely called thermometer. And yes, you want to use a thermometer. You want to stick it into the thickest part of the meat. You don't want to go like how this fork is right now. You don't want to go in it like this. You'd want to hit it right in the middle. So that way you're not going through the steak and then hitting the heat. But unless of course, your excuse is you're going to use the knife to cut the little tail off that New York strip, because that's the best part, or you just got to do a little tasty, then sure, use a knife and you can check the doneness. But most definitely it is false. And again, 145 degrees, medium rare, 160 for medium, and we're just not going to discuss anything after that. So all right, this is a perfect opportunity that if you have some meat thermometers, that you can give away to somebody with your packaged meat that you might be selling, especially in the grilling season time of year. Because when it comes to some of the chuck roasts and some of the bigger roasts that would be most likely slow cooked, it becomes fork tender aspect versus a temperature aspect. All right, number 7, steak is best hot off the grill. True or false? False. Yeah, this kind of gives it away a little bit. But yeah, that's a definite false. You want to let it, put some foil on it, tent it over nicely, let it rest 5 to 7 minutes. You just want those juices to go right back into that steak, or it's going to pool all over this area here. My mother loved doing that, because she'd take the garlic bread and like sop it up. And that was, a tasty treat. But yeah, it's not inherently what you want to do, because you want those juices into that steak to make it the taste that it is. All right, simple reminder, 3 T's of grilling: time, temperature, and time. Super fast, super simple. And you can see here, depending on the thickness of the steak, charcoal or gas, you're going to see the times are going to be a little bit different. This is an awesome little card that you can print off, and it's from Beef It's What's for Dinner. Super easy. So, Grilling 101 resources, again, nybeef.org all day long. Beef It's What's for Dinner, day and night all day long. This is the place to go from farm to fork. But also what I encourage, if you haven't done it already, is become an MBA, Masters of Beef Advocate, because that will give you the talking points that we convey to our consumers on a daily basis from the farm to the fork. And it'll give you that edge to ensure the consistency in the messaging. So super easy. 1 hour. You can take your time and do a little bit at a time and get it done. And you get a nice little certificate at the end, and you can become part of that MBA network. It's a closed Facebook page to help you post and advocate for the industry. So how can you use all this information? Well, there's your farmer's market, county fair booths, if you volunteer to display at the county fair, or even at home. And you can do it whether it's in person, maybe you have like a little shop or, you know, a little area, the booth in your home, you know, like a little side aspect, or even if it's just right out of your kitchen. All right. Some of the fun things that you do, here's a nice setup that we did once upon a time. Here's our poster, here's a grill, some cuts. You can see the grill here and a bunch of pamphlets. This is super easy. What you're gonna need though, you're gonna need that MBA and the beef cut sheets and grilling myth sheets, any summer grilling brochure, meat cut banner if available. The New York Beef Producers Association have banners, especially if you're going to be at a county fair. A tablecloth, 4-foot tablecloth. That's it. Put it over a 4-foot table. You got it. Put a little grill on top. Maybe you can cook. Maybe you don't. Check with your farmer's market to find out what you can do. Here's a perfect opportunity that you can grill a steak that you and cut different pieces for tastings and stuff, so people can maybe get a taste of your product. Grilling tools, a tong, a fork and thermometer. Yes, a fork, so you can say never turn with a fork. A cutting board or a knife, toothpicks, depending on if you're going to be putting some real food out there. Ask, can you have samples? It's that COVID question right now. And then having your tablet trained on beef and what's for dinner, so you can go and refer to it right away, or have somebody bring it up on their phone right away. So that was a quick overview, probably one of the shortest of all the ones that we've done. Let me get out of the screen share here and bring y'all back so I can see you and see what you're chatting about. At the market fair, hand sanitizers and gloves if you're offered food. Yep. So does anybody have any questions about everything that we've covered over the 3 weeks or the 3 months? A little bit about today. I know it's just not maybe as deep or in invested in what to do to do it, but if anything, it gives you some ideas and resources, because you have to build your own based on what your niche is. You want to just provide that information. You want to be able to supply it, as well as what we've given you in the past couple of months as to, hey, here's the cut and here's a recipe that goes with the cut, or here's more information about it, and these are all the things that you can do. So feel free to, you can unmute and ask or put it in the chat box. All right. Well, hopefully you got everything. Again, as always, I will put in my email. I will be sending out tomorrow the recording for review. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you have problems finding any resources that you might be looking for as when you're marketing your beef or putting it out there for the consumer, this will be, once it's USDA approved, we'll be putting it on YouTube just along with the other two. And that way you can always go back to it and refer or reach out to me. And like I said, we have a lot of resources where we can guide you to where you need to do. So try to keep it short and simple this time. And after inundating you all, I will be sending out a post survey. I would really appreciate your input as to what you would like to see in addition. We might lengthen them a little bit just to be able to give you guys time to absorb a little bit better, and then maybe kind of have like a recap from the time before, or just kind of like an overview at the end. So by all means, please give us your feedback so that way we can learn from it and figure out how often we should put this out there, what we should change up, keep, subtract, etc. It's what we do and how we do it. So you're welcome, Betsy. And you know, Betsy, I'm gonna throw you under the bus here. Betsy and I were talking. Betsy is gonna be on a Facebook Live on Sunday, everybody, to help us support promote our St. Patrick's Day endeavor. And she said, you know, I never really realized Beef It's What's for Dinner, and I went on it. It was an incredible website. She's like, I didn't realize what I was missing. So really, really encourage you to hit that website. There are hundreds of recipes on there in all different facets, and every one of them has at least been triple tested by the NCBA staff. They have a culinary kitchen there, and it is beautiful with every stove, oven, food service grade or consumer grade imaginable. It's my nirvana. It's my heaven. I would never leave there at all. The recipe abounds. So they're constantly experimenting and creating new recipes and different flavor profiles. So definitely search and see what they've given you. All righty. Thank you, everyone. Y'all have a good evening. Appreciate you following us every single month and joining us. I know it's hard. You all are busy, and it's hard at this time of night. But thank you. You are so welcome, everyone, and you all have a good night. Okay.